going to do a spirit art tonight, and this one's going to be a gamble because I have supplied spirit with pointy, sharp objects, of which are dangerous. If you've ever done printmaking before, so this is a rubber block. So this is a rubber block. So think of this as like I'm making my own stamp. We have a rubber block, and these tools carve into the rubber, and you can make any kind of picture or design in here. And then when you're done carving with these very sharp tools that can definitely cut you, then you ink it and you make prints. So we're going to be trying something a little new this evening. I'm going to see if Spirit can make the design on the rubber print block, and then after that I will make the prints, because that's a little complicated, I think, to ask of Spirit to also make the prints. They can make the design on the rubber block, and then I'll make the prints. And I have black ink. I have all these printmaking stuff I have never used, because I was doing them at school and then I never did it again. Does this have different colors in it? I bought all of this stuff, like, I don't know, it's probably been a couple of years now. And to be honest, it's probably been more than a couple of years. Okay, cool. So we have different colors. We have blue, yellow, red, and black. No. Yes? Black. Red, blue, yellow, black. So primaries plus black. So maybe later we'll decide, you guys can decide what color we'll do after we've seen the design and what the design looks like. We'll probably just do one color for tonight. Hoaxers, there's no purple. Purple is not an option. You've done printmaking, Carly? Cool. Yeah, there's all different kinds of things that you can make prints with. Linoleum blocks are the most typical of the cheapest version, not as dangerous versions of printmaking. And then I was thinking, if it turns out well, maybe we'll do a limited edition of prints from the block, and I'll put them up and maybe on the coffee shop. Maybe it'll be a coffee shop exclusive. You can purchase your own print from the Spirit Art block here. Sounds like a plan, man. These things, hey Graz, are block cutting tools, and they are very dangerous. So I've already asked Spirit, which I know it's going to be Peter. We've already decided. Peter has already decided that he's going to come through this evening, and he already told me that no blood shall be shed. He's going to make sure that I stay safe whilst he is carving using my hands. So we'll see. There can always be accidents. So I think I'm ready. And like I said, I'm fairly certain I already know this is going to be Peter. He's our go-to guy. We've only had a couple other people do this with us. A couple other spirits do this with us. And I know that Peter is the one that wants to do this evening. So, all right. If you've never seen this happen before, I'm going to go into a quiet, meditative state, and then I'm going to allow a spirit to come through and create a piece of art. I know already for fairly certain that it's going to be Peter. But you never know. We could get a shocking surprise. So while they're making the art, Peter usually doesn't start talking right off the bat, so I'll probably be really quiet for a while, and there'll just be some carving going on. But eventually he usually does start talking, and then he usually has some kind of message for us. And he has progressively gotten less and less grumpy since we started. So we shall see how he's feeling this evening. This takes much more effort than we thought it would. This is a very strange sensation. I am grateful to be here. I am grateful for Jenny. As she is known now. She allows me to come through and create and share. Creation is vastly more important than you realize. I'm not just talking about the creation of big things. But the creation of small things as well. This is very exhausting. We must return to the markers. Creation helps to build a sense of pride, self-confidence, community, endurance, love. So create something. anything. And when you create something, anything, don't forget to share it. For if you aren't sharing your gifts with others, it is a waste. When there are others that will enjoy it, that will learn from it, that will take something from it. And when you share it with others, you start to find those that will appreciate you and your efforts. And that's when the sense of community will gather. The like-minded will find the like-minded. If only they are willing to share their creations with others. So, if you have been feeling alone or lost, find those that are shining their light in a similar way as you. And don't be afraid to shine your light so that others can find you. We hope that you enjoy this artwork as you make your copies of it. We will leave now. We apologize for the mess. So I don't know if that was Peter. I was so certain. I was so certain that was going to be Peter. But Peter's never referred to themselves as we. So, what was that? It seemed like Peter at first, but then I don't know what happened. Like at first when they were complaining about how hard it was, it felt like it was Peter. and then I don't know, it felt kind of different. Yeah, I think that they were frustrated with how difficult this was, which I was worried about, you know, but we have to try different things, you know, we gotta try different things sometimes. And my students at school have been printmaking, and it just made me think, like, I wonder if that's something that we could do on here with the spirit art. It's so weird looking. Like, what the hell? What the hell did they make? It looks like I don't know, the stuff in the middle reminds me of like the bits and pieces of cells. You know, like the microscopic parts of cells, like the itty bitty tiny micro stuff of the cells. I can't remember what they're called. It was super hard for them to get this thing across the first couple of times. I was like, are they gonna be able to do this? This is a bad idea. Like calls like, yes. Sometimes I think Peter is getting emotional, but then he turns out he's just that grumpy. I don't know. I felt they, like, at the end of it, when they were just like touching the printing plate, like I had tears in my eyes. Like they were getting emotional, which is there's two other reasons why I do think it was Peter. One is because my eyes always burn. Every time it's Peter, my eyes burn. Like my eyes are burning. And that happened this time. And the other thing was towards the end, he almost started crying. And that's usually what's been happening with Peter the last few times that he's come through, is he gets very emotional at the end and he starts crying. But he doesn't like weep, you know, he's not like boo-hooing, but he is like crying. And that happened this time too. But then all of a sudden they started saying we, and I'm like, well, Peter's usually just an individual. But maybe Peter brought friends this time. We should go back to the markers. That was another thing that made me think it was Peter, because he is very particular about the medium of which we use also. You know, like when we use the like cheap pastels, he was very upset about it. Looks like rain, lightning, and such. Yeah, it's very strange because it started this way, right? Didn't it start out this way? It started out horizontal, but then of course they all, you know, whoever's doing it usually turns it all which way, which is another thing that makes me think it's Peter, because Peter always turns it in different directions and like is really thinking about like the whole thing and not just like what it looks like from one direction. So it could be whatever direction you want it to be in, like whatever makes sense for you, you know. So I've got some paper that we're going to print on, and I have this this is a meat tray, you guys, a foam meat tray. See, artists, they keep everything. And the spouses of artists always are irritated because the artists keep everything. But we're going to put the ink in here, all right? And then you take the roller and you roll it in the ink, and then you roll it on the print block, and then you put your piece of paper over it, and then you rub it and you rub it and rub it and you rub it. fancy people have printing presses. See, we don't have such a thing. We don't have such a thing here. So we just use our hands, and it works just as well. And then we'll make a couple prints and we'll see what they look like. So we're just gonna squirt some ink onto this. There it is. That's a pretty blue. Okay. Check my roller and make sure it's not got dust and junk on it. It does have something on there. I don't know what that was. And we'll check our printing block and make sure it doesn't have like little rubber turds on it. No rubber turds allowed. Okay, now we're gonna roll it through the ink. I'm gonna try to get it over the roller pretty well. Printing ink is very thick. All right, now we're gonna put it on the printing plate. And see, this is how this works, is that it only goes on the places that aren't carved. So all the places that are carved, if they're carved out deep enough, the ink doesn't go on it. So it leaves it white. Okay, so let's get us a piece of paper here. Make sure the paper looks all right. And we're gonna try to get it in centered. I got a little bit of ink on here. Now I just got it on my fingers. Ay, ay, ay. Okay, I'm gonna move the cat coin out of the way because I don't want to get ink on it. We'll slide this stuff over. Okay. So we're just gonna put the paper down on top, and then I just like to rub it with my hands. Like you can use, my students at school were using a rubber, not a rubber, a wooden spoon today. They're using a rubber, I keep saying a rubber. They're using a wooden spoon, the back of a wooden spoon, to burnish the paper on the back, which I think is good, you know, for like making sure the paper's all nice and flat. But I just like to use my fingers because then I can feel it and see where I've gotten and I haven't gotten it. So like I told my students today, if you're going to do this with your hands and you don't have a printing press, you want to rub it until you think you've rubbed it enough, and then you want to rub it some more. Because no matter how much you rubbed it, you probably didn't rub it enough. Okay, you ready? Now, the thing that's magical about printmaking is that it prints in reverse. So whatever Peter and friends carved in here, it's going to be backwards. However, for the majority of it, they made it symmetrical. Except for the little, like, hair-looking things that came out of the parts where he stabbed in the middle. Okay, you ready? Let's see what it looks like. Ooh! There's our first print. I didn't get it on the paper straight. It's a little crooked. But there's print number 1. He was number 1. So which way do you guys like it best? Do we like it horizontal or vertical? Decisions. I kind of like it this way, with the little hair things that are going up. I think this is my favorite direction, but you guys tell me. What's your favorite way? You know, now that I'm looking at this printed, these parts in the middle kind of remind me of people, like the torsos of people. Like this is like their belly button. Which, it does, it looks like 3 people. Hellspawn Queen, I was thinking the same thing. It looks like 3 people. And The belly button. Your belly button. You have two chakras that are close to your belly button. One of them is the sacral chakra, and the sacral chakra is all about creation. And the message that was coming through is all about creating things so that you could gather to you confidence and community, which would be like through your solar plexus. Sharing your creations attracts your... I think we should just say sharing your creations attracts your tribe. I think we're going to make that the message. Sharing your creations attracts your tribe. Yeah! Bam! Mic drop. Pow! Done.